first grade parents. Today is Tuesday, April 14th, and I am going to go over our math worksheets for the day and our math skills. Sorry, I turned the light on. I think that should be a little bit better. All right, today in your packets, we are looking at pages 461, 62, 63, 64, 65, and 66. So today has quite a few pages, but the good news is there's not a ton on each page. Things are pretty spaced out. So the first thing that you are going to see, I'm going to show you here, are counting groups up to 120. So our first grade standards make the children responsible for learning and being able to work with and within numbers from 0 to 120. And the reason it goes to 120 is because after they get that number sense, it builds on to second grade when they will work with numbers up to 1,000. Because once you really have that place value understanding of a 1 is one single unit, a 10 is a group of 10 ones, 100 is a group of 10 tens, our place value system just grows from there. It's called a base 10 system. So that means that every digit we look at moving to the left is going to be 10 times bigger than the digit to the right, or have 10 times more value. So today we're really building on that skill. So what your children are going to see are a group of stars. Now, it's going to ask them how many stars there are in the collection. Now you're going to see a couple of reactions from your children. Some of your kids are going to get their little pointer finger and they are going to start going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you are going to let them go for a little bit. And then at one point, if you're pretty dramatic like me, you are going to tell them, oh, you are boring me. This is taking so long. What could you do to make this go faster? And trust me, I am this dramatic in the classroom. And they are going to tell you, I don't know. Or they're going to tell you, I can count by twos. Okay, great. Let them start counting by twos. And they may get 2 pointer fingers and they're going to go 2, 4, 6, 8. You're going to let them go for a little bit. And then again, you're going to say, oh, this is still taking too long. What else could you do? And they may suggest, oh, 5s. I could count by 5s. Okay, try that. 5, 10, 15. Now they're quicker now, so you have to stop them a little sooner and tell them, oh, that's a little bit better, but I still think you could go faster. What we want them to understand is that when they see this, whether it's stars, circles, cubes, anything that is in a group of 5 and 5 more, that is always a 10. In first grade, we call that a 10 frame, and we work within 10 frames a lot. In kindergarten, your students worked with 10 frames a lot. What we really want them to understand here, and this is where you're going to have them grab their pencil, their crayons, is that every time they see 10, we don't want to think of that as 10 single stars anymore. We want to think of that as a group of 10. And we want to just count that. In my room, we get our whole hand and we go 10. It's not this anymore. This is only for ones. This is for a group of 10. So hopefully, now they may need some guidance, again, with different levels. Some of your kids are going to know this from the beginning. Bam, I see 10s. Okay, great. Some of them are going to need that guidance of, can you do it faster? Can you group more? You need to ask those questions. What we want them to be able to do is to find all of the groups of 10 that they can. And then they're going to come to a point where they get to something like this. And you are going to ask, are there enough stars to make a 10? The answer, of course, is no, there's not. So when we are looking at this, we're going to do a couple of things with this. 1, we do want to know the total, but 2, we want to break it down into the parts. And that's going to really help build that place value. So when I look at this, I was able to see 1, 2, 3, 4 groups of 10. So I found 4 groups of 10. Now that answers the how many groups. It still doesn't answer the how much, 2 different questions. The how many is 4 groups of 10. The how much is that the value of that is 10, 20, 30, 40. So we have to have them count this 2 different ways. And this is where sometimes kids get confused with the how many and the how much. How many we're counting by ones, we're counting the groups. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 groups of 10. The how many is we're counting 10, 20, 30, 40. Now the book, or well, your packet doesn't really ask for this, but it's going to lead into this anyway. So at this point, I always just show it to them this way because then their brain's already getting used to this. So 4 groups of 10 has a value of 40. So I always just write that. Have to have them write it, but if you just show it to them this way, different learners are going to see things different ways, and we want them to relate the visual model to the written word to the expanded form where we're using digits. So we're looking at 2 things here. The how many is 4 groups of 10. The how much is that has a value of 40. And then we have to deal with these leftovers. I always call them the leftovers, the ones that we didn't have enough to bundle a new group of 10. So that's where we're going to get that pointer back out. Now we can count by ones. Again, some of your kids are going to see, well, that's a 5 because they know that, and they're just going to say 5, 6. Some of your kids are going to have to count every single one. That's fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So then we're going to answer the question of, we have 4 groups of 10 and blank ones. Now you'll notice here, it doesn't say blank groups of ones. No, because ones are individual units. 10s are bundled. They come together as a unit. Ones are their own unit. So 4 groups of 10s, 4 groups of 10 and 6 ones. So the 4 groups of 10, this is where we're breaking it into the parts, had a value of 40. The 6 ones simply has a value of 6. So when we are looking at this to count the whole thing, we are going to say that 4 groups of 10 and 6 ones, or 40 plus 6, has an overall value of 46. Now, some of your kids may just know this at this point. Some of them aren't. Some are going to, even though they're seeing this, and you may be screaming inside, it's 46, some of them still have to work with the model. So even when you've gotten to this point, they may not just know it's 46. They may still have to go back with your guidance and count palms first, 10, 20, 30, 40. Remind them to switch to the pointer, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. Every student is at a different, we think of it like a progression. They're all at a different point of how fast they can count, how quickly they can process those groups. So basically just you try not to get frustrated, because I know we want to scream, yeah, that's 46, but if you just tell them that, they're going to miss all of that putting the groups together. The next part then asks them to show that on their 100 chart. And this is again where we are saying you're trying to present it in quite a few ways so that it makes sense in their brain. So when they see the model, then they saw how you wrote it out with the words, how you wrote it out in the expanded form, and how you showed it as one number. They also need to see this on the 120 chart. Now, I had to erase from earlier, so I'm not going to put the whole chart back up, but in your packet, you have that 120 chart at the end. Now, I'm not going to write on this simply because I may need it for another video. So I'm just going to make kind of a makeshift 120 chart. And how we would model this particular number is we would want them to start counting at 10. And this is where we're saying there's 4 groups of 10. So they're going to count 10, 20, 30, did I write that? 10, 20, 30, 40. And then they're going to jump on the chart and count 3 more. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. So, oh, what did I miss here? Let me redo that. 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46. All right, let me do it this way so you can see it. So when they're here, then this is a jump of one more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that makes more sense. So you are doing 4 jumps of 10 because whenever we jump down a column, that is a jump of 10. Whenever we jump up a column, that's a jump of 10. And then you are doing 6 jumps of 1. And the 6 jumps of 1, I would relate this back and tell them, these groups, that was our jumps of 10. When we switched to our pointer finger, that was our jumping of 1. So they're showing this 2 different ways. One with the model, 2 on their 120 chart. And I'm just going to bring that chart out so that you can see what that would actually look like on here. I'm going to try to get closer. Okay, so if you're showing them on here, you're going to tell them this is us jumping those 4 groups of 10. So you're going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have to count 6 more to match the 6 ones. So we're at 40, and then we jump 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we land at 46. So that's why it was very vital that yesterday you had that conversation about what patterns do we see on the 120 chart, because this is now where we need that knowledge to come into play. They need to know that this is a jump of 10 and that those are jumps of 1 more. So that is one thing that you are going to see on today's lesson. The other thing that I want you to see, that I want to talk about, you're going to see quite a few models of that with the groups of 10, making groups of 10 and breaking it apart. And then it's going to ask them some kind of tougher, higher order thinking questions like, how is your way like model it? How is it different? So that's where, when they ask them to solve it on their way, they may use the chart, they may make a model, and they just kind of want them to compare, here's the way that the book did it and explained it, how was their way different, and how is it the same? And then it's going to say, Buzz counts by ones from 110 like this, and it says that he counts 111, 112, 114, 115. Is he right? We, of course, want them to say, no, he skipped 113. They may need a chart to do that one. And then the only other different type of problem that you're going to see are these box problems. So when you encounter a box problem, it's going to give them a problem that breaks something into tens and ones. So I'm just going to make up a problem. And my problems always involve food because I love food. So my problem is Mrs. Little bakes 90 cupcakes and puts them in a box. And she also has some outside of the box. How many cupcakes did she make? So in this model, what we want them to understand is, even though we can't see it, so this is us getting to something more abstract, because on these earlier models, they would actually see the 90 or the 40 or the whatever it was. Now we need them to just assume that there are 90 without seeing the model. So this is actually a little bit tougher because it's telling them to see something that they really can't see. And what we want them to do here is to say 90 and then to count on 91, 92, 93, 94. And again, just to make it make a little bit more sense, you can certainly show them that this is 90 in the box plus 4 more. You can tell them that in the box there are 9 tens. Outside of the box there are 4 ones. And then our whole value is 94. So this is just really about them understanding that the tens place has a value of, in this case, 9 tens. Not 9, it's 9 groups of 10. So that is today's work. They're definitely going to need their hundreds chart for this, and they're going to need a little bit of guidance from you. All right, have a great day. Have a great Tuesday. And I'll be back tomorrow to work on 10 more and 10 less.